Thank you so much, everyone, for allowing me to be here today and present. I hate to play off the analogy of growth again, but I kind of have to, since this really entailed a blossoming of my eco-consciousness on every level this month, and plus I'm in the midst of starting a new community garden, so the growth thing just went with it. To begin, before one can harvest change on their campuses or in the world, you have to have a sort of baseline assessment, a soil test of sorts, to figure out where you are so you know where you can grow and change in future. So for me, my baseline assessment in Project Green Challenge was investigating my current use of products, my use of disposables, the energy usage of indoor workouts, which are actually unbelievably high, or even my current diet. But luckily, I had started transitioning my diet to a whole foods, plant-based diet, and I had started doing other things. So as I started out, I thought, I'm pretty eco-conscious, but I guess I really didn't realize there was a lot of room that I still had to grow. Most of my my current lifestyle was devoted to sustainable food and nutrition, where I want to lead my career, but I still hadn't investigated other aspects of the environmental movement, and so that's where I knew I needed to take this challenge and really grow and move forward. So the first ingredient I needed was personal priority and power. And this was the biggest struggle for me at starting out Project Green Challenge, because the first week was my hardest week of school I've ever encountered, and I had 3 midterms, 2 papers, my mom was visiting, so I felt really far behind in the challenge from the beginning. And I didn't even see myself on that top 20 list for like the first 2 weeks. So I was like, I had no idea where I was standing. I'm like, why am I putting all this power and time and energy into this if I have no idea where I am, and is it really making a difference? But yet, my eco-conscious couldn't let me give up. I was like, I gotta persist. And by the end of the month, I realized this had moved from the addendum at the bottom of my daily agenda to the very first thing that I did every day and spent the most time and energy on. And as I mentioned to them before, it became more important than organic chemistry, which I never thought would happen. So I started transitioning my personal habits from the mound of non-organic cotton that currently comprises my wardrobe to walking up the stairs, which I live on the 7th floor, so that's a pretty big thing when you have like a 30-pound book bag every day. But now I never take the elevator and everybody makes fun of me. And bringing completely non-plastic lunches, things like that. So I had this personal habits transform, but yet I knew that wasn't enough. Yeah, I had started with myself, but I needed to spread the seeds of this knowledge that I was gaining through all these challenges, such as learning about balanced dryer sheets, which I used, and finding healthier alternatives that didn't cause nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. And interviewing local organic farmers to learn what organic truly means. Because yes, I wanted to support these for myself, but I also wanted to support my local community. So I interviewed her and found out the most incredible, inspirational words of wisdom from her. But once I had these, I needed to share these seeds of knowledge with fellows in my own community at school. So the first way that I did this was working with the Green Clean Challenge. So for one of the challenges, we had to create a poster of all the bad chemicals that are in products, conventional laundry products, post this up, and also include healthier alternatives. So yes, I did this, and the people who helped me put them up were like, this is really interesting, I've never heard about this before. And they kept coming up to me, and people in the laundry room were saying, wow, where can I get these things? And I realized that's not enough, just posting these posters isn't enough. We have to actually help people make the switch. And the thing was that one limiting nutrient for students in making the switch is that we don't have access to grocery stores, like big full-service grocery stores. So I came up with a list of the healthier alternatives, went to the head of housing and dining, and said, can we get these in our school mini mart? And I just followed up with him on Thursday because I noticed they still weren't there. And he's like, oh, we're getting them at the beginning of next semester. They're already on our product list, and so I'm really excited to see all those there. Some other alternatives that Project Green Challenge helped me do was a ton, actually, too many to describe. But some of them included starting a petition for 100% green cleaning products in the facilities operations on our campus. So not just students doing their own laundry, but now cleaning all of our schools and our dorms. So we came up with the list. That's just the beginning of the list. It's actually much longer now. working with Nikki and Hannah in the Office of Sustainability on an e-cycling drive. And this big list right here is just part of the list of our meat and dairy sources in our cafeterias. And this is part of a bigger challenge that the student group that I co-founded last year, Real Food Hopkins, we are currently about to start a new Real Food Calculator assessment, which is going to assess the purchases of all our food in our dining hall and give it a percentage. So this much percent, or like say, I think it's going to be around 2%, honestly, but it's categorized based on being humane, local, sustainable, and fair. And then once we have this percentage, we can go forward and say, we want to up this percentage to 10% by 2020 or something. Just gradual changes to make a difference. And one of the Project Green challenges had us investigate these, so it really got the research started on my end and helped me start calling companies and learning about the different certifications. And so it's really exciting to learn about these things because that's my passion, that's where I want to go forth in life, is healthy and nutritious and sustainable food. But then, once you have, like spreading these seeds of knowledge to your own school community isn't enough. You need to spread it to the entire community. And I think that's really an important facet of the green movement, is that we have to incorporate people from not just our income level and our age group, but every income level. So one way we did this was through the 100-mile meal. And this is an event that my student group hosted, where we invited 4 guest panelists on experts on the food system. One was a food system researcher, and 2 more were urban gardeners who were working in like low-income communities trying to increase healthy food access in Baltimore food deserts. And most importantly, another one was a JHU food service worker. And during this event, we started working with our dining service workers, cooking with them, taking them to farmers markets with us, learning together, because we realized they're just as important a part of this movement as we are. And we need them to understand it just as much. It was actually really interesting. One of the people I met, he was a taxi driver, and he learned about this, and we're like driving in the taxi, and he's like, yes, I want to buy my kids grass-fed beef and all this stuff, but I go to Whole Foods and I don't know which thing is this, which thing is this, and he's going on and on. I'm like, this is so inspiring, because we want people from every level to want to buy these things, and we wanted to make that applicable to everyone. So it was really cool. At the 100-mile meal, we had over 100 people come, students, faculty, staff, and most importantly, all these community members, to engage in discussions on how can we create a more sustainable world. And that was just so inspiring for me to see so many people come together. And this meal was entirely local, a lot of it organic, and it was all cooked by us. So it was really a great culmination of the month, and it was in relation to Food Day, so that was a great thing. But another thing that my student group realized is that Johns Hopkins is kind of have an uneasy relationship with its outside the Baltimore community. We're like a bubble inside the greater world, and they kind of are hesitant at us because everything we do, we want to like push further and take more people's space. So the outside community doesn't like us very much, and even within our own community, I feel it's kind of lacking a bit because it's so academic. Everyone's very individually focused. I want to reach these goals. I want to do these things. So there's a lack of cohesiveness. So we saw this as an opportunity to bring together a community into something so crucial as food. And starting a new community garden. As you can see, the plot right here, it has space for 50 plots plus 2 huge beds. So we are just broke ground yesterday. I wish I could have been there. But we're starting this huge community garden, and it's going to be a really big endeavor, and I'm really excited about it. But basically, we're linking Hopkins affiliates with community members. So it's not just like you adopt a plot, but no, you work together with your community member on that plot so that we can have this community among everybody. It's going to be really exciting. But even when you have a garden, you also have to have a forecast for your future. And for me, Project Green Challenge has started many things in my life that are a forecast for my future. So in addition to doing the Real Food Calculator assessment next year, or next semester, and ensuring that those green cleaning products do actually end up on our shelves, and starting this new community garden, I also started working with the Baltimore City Health Department in my head of housing and dining to transition these compostable to-go boxes, which I hate to admit I have to use a lot because I run from class to work and I can't go anywhere, and they won't let us use our own reusable right now. So we're working with the Baltimore City Health Department to figure out how we can get you reusable ones in there with like this massive like library system of bringing them back and putting them in this sanitary box and taking it back through. Like, it's a really complicated process, but we're working on it right now, and I'm really, my dining board director is all on board. So it's just a matter of getting the health department to agree, and then we can move forward. Another thing, like she mentioned, is that we have the healthy and sustainable food or care package concept. So I get this letter freshman year going into Hopkins, which is like known to be one of the best medical schools on campus, in the country, and I'm like, this is crap. This is what they're giving us, saying that it's healthy and wholesome food, quote for quote, healthy and wholesome food. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't even imagine that these doctors are telling us telling our parents to serve this to us. That's not going to sustain me through my midterms and exams. So I was like, this is crazy. So that's why we're working together to bring some healthier alternatives to schools across the nation. And finally, the e-cycling drive. So we mentioned before that we started that e-cycling drive. Well, we were talking to students there, and a lot of them said, why don't we have more of these? We only have like one a semester. So we're working on getting permanent e-cycling drive boxes in all the dorms, and then eventually all the academic buildings, so that this can be like a permanent and habitual practice for everybody. So now, as I leave you with this, we've been here for this weekend, and it's been incredible. We've got all these seeds of knowledge that have been given to us. And now, I hope that you all go forth from this amazing weekend and plant those seeds in your own schools, homes, communities, and eventually the world, so we can really grow this amazing garden and reap its harvest. So, thank you.